In the face of chaos and destruction, some voices bring hope, strength, and unbreakable will. A king leading with wisdom and courage. A hero defending the world with unshakable resolve. From the post-apocalyptic wastelands to the animated battlefield, the voice that commands kings and heroes alike. Welcome to the stage, Khary Payton.
Khary Payton! Hey everybody, good afternoon, good afternoon. Khary, good afternoon, man.
I feel so strong in this chair.
Because you're a king.
It's like a throne.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Would Ezekiel approve?
You know, in the apocalypse, you take what you can get. So I think he'll take this chair if he's got one.
Wow.
He'll otherwise he's sitting on the floor.
Got it.
How's everybody doing? Now, are y'all just waiting for somebody else? Are you guys like, you know what, somebody knows who this guy is, but I have no idea? How many people have no idea who I am? I just want to know. There you go. That's all right. Good to know. That's all right. I love even, you were even like, you raised your hand and was like, you know what, I don't even know why I'm raising my hand. I don't even know why I'm acknowledging you right now, but there you are. But you look lovely in your cult cloak. What cult are you a part of? Oh, you know what? You threw him off with the hair. You know, because your hair is flowing too much. You need them donuts. But I can see it now. Yeah, you're like relaxed Leia. You know, after they blew up the Death Star and you're on vacation, and that's why people don't know you. But we acknowledge you now, and you look amazing. There you go.
Does.
I'm Khary, by the way. I do cartoon voices. Sometimes I do other things. There you go.
Khary, speaking about that, tell us how you got into voice work.
Man, I can't tell you that story in just how long do we have?
Hour.
It's literally yeah. You don't the story is always a lot longer than people think.
Okay.
Because I started off wanting to do theater. I saw Cyrano de Bergerac when I was like in first grade, and then and so I just always kind of was enamored of acting and performing, and so I started doing community theater and stuff like that. And I tried out for the Showtime Kid Talent Quest when I was like 13 years old, and I won that, and I flew to New York and I read off a teleprompter,
At 13?
for a week.
How did you feel about that? Flying to New York.
I mean, I was having fun. You know, I wasn't gonna turn it down.
Right,
It was
a free trip.
Yeah. It was a free trip, and my whole family went, and we had a good time, and that just got me more involved in wanting to perform more and I did theater through high school. I did stand-up comedy. I met a comedy booker when I was in New York, and I did a little stand-up comedy when I was 15 or 16. And by the time I was 16, the comedians had me so depressed. I was sitting at a bar at Stand-Up New York Comedy Store on the Upper West Side of Manhattan. And I was, and they were all so talented and so depressed. And I was like, I think I should go to college because you guys are just depressing. I mean, they're the funniest, most depressed group of people are comedians at the back of a comedy club. It's just the worst. So I decided to go to college, and I did theater. I went to school at SMU in Dallas, Texas, for acting and directing, and then. I told you it was a long story.
Right,
and
over here.
And then I just started doing theater, and people told me that I should maybe try voiceover. I had no idea how to get into it,
right.
And but I started doing theater after I got out of college, and finally, when I moved to Los Angeles, a friend of mine, one of my best friends, was working as an assistant to an animation writer.
Oh, so there you got the door.
Yeah, and when they finally got a job as a full-blown animation writer, they were like, "Hey, Khary, you want to come audition for this part?" It's called Cyborg. It's from a comic book, and I think you'd be right for it, but I don't know. And I went in and I auditioned, and that was my first audition in Los Angeles was for Cyborg. I walked in, and there was and Urkel was sitting there, and everybody from In Living Color, and everybody from Living Single, all the black people from the 90s were like sitting in there, and I was like, well, I guess I'm in the right spot, but I don't know if I'm gonna get this part because everybody else is,
gunning for the same position.
Yeah. And so I was just happy to audition, and I had a blast. I had so much fun doing it, and I was just hoping that they'd let me audition again. And then my friend David Slack, he called me one day and he was like, Khary, I think you might get it. It's down to you and like 2 other people. And I was like, well, what are you gonna do? He was like, I can't do nothing, man. It's out of my hands. And I was like, well, we'll see. And so a couple of weeks later, I got the part, and that was 21 years ago.
Wow, and the rest is history now.
Yeah. So I mean, literally getting into voiceover is like I tell a story that way because because the short answer is I have no idea. I have no idea how you get into voiceover because I fell my butt backwards, just tripped and fell into Cyborg, and he just happened to be, I mean, I wasn't a teenager when I got it, but I was green, I didn't know what I was doing, and I think that helped me get the part.
And plus, you mentioned that you were in the room with so many other people, for instance, like Urkel and a lot of other individuals who've already been seasoned, and then for them to like just pick you out.
Yeah. I was like, what am I doing here? I don't know what I'm doing. Am I supposed to push this button? Right. Do I talk into the microphone? What if I talk loud? Am I talking too loud right now? And they were like, that's Cyborg, There
you go. Wow.
And then we sprinkle in a BOOYAH every once in a while. Yeah. Sprinkle some BOOYAH like sprinkles. There you go.
So apart from animation Cyborg, you also had some time on daytime soap, General Hospital.
Wow. yes, I did.
Dr. Jackson,
you know what?
Right?
Dr. Terrell Jackson. I'll never forget when I got the part of Dr. Terrell Jackson on General Hospital because the guy was like, come into my office. I want to tell you the name of your character.
Right.
Your character is. And he paused and he went, Dr. Terrell Jackson. And I was like, thank you. It was like he was like, Dr. Blackman, blah, black, blah, black. It was like the blackest name you could come up with.
Terrell Jackson.
I was like, okay, good job. I'll go with that. That's awesome, man. But you know what? I love being on General Hospital because it was so silly. It was they
you
were
were
doing
a home wrecker almost.
Oh my God! You actually watched the show. Did your grandma make you watch the show? Are you one of those dudes?
No.
That's how it is. Me and my grandma. He was like, baby, sit right here and watch the stories with me. This man I hate him because he about to break up the Drakes.
Right.
Yes, that was you. Now I know. Now I know why you brought this up.
No, because I was
funniest. When I get a lot of ladies who stop me and with General Hospital, but the funniest person who ever stopped me about General Hospital, I was eating, and the guy was who was cooking the food. He came out from the food truck, and he was a shorter, older man, and he came over to me and he was like, Dr. Jackson.
And you like,
I was like, and I was like, yes, and he was like, tell me. Is the baby going to be okay? You did the surgery on the baby. Is the baby going to be okay? And I was like, yeah. The baby's going to be just fine. He was like, okay, Dr. Jackson, I'm going to make something for you. And I was like, all right, that was the crack. I was not expecting it. Of all the things for him to bring up, Dr. Jackson.
Yeah. And remember back in the day, too, before streaming, Netflix, and all of this stuff, it really was daytime soap.
I was at the end of daytime soap, so it was kind of. This was less than 10 years ago, maybe. It was just a few years before I started doing the Walking Dead. But I loved doing the show because it was so silly and you know the storylines were just outrageous and you got a new script every day, and so it felt like going to the gym and just like working your muscle. You know?
Said you got a script every day, so every day did you kind of know, or it was like, oh, we're changing it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday?
I mean, they give you a couple of days to know when you were working, but every script was a new script every day. So you just had to learn your lines, make a choice, and just go with it. And fortunately, my character was kind of a fun-loving guy, so they let me play around and joke around, and so it felt like a little bit of improv and a lot of when I'm doing acting, sometimes I can, I'm very serious about the work. But with this, I didn't have to be serious because I was like, we're throwing this out tomorrow. We're throwing this out tomorrow and moving on to the next thing.
Right.
So it just made me feel free to just try things, to try new things, and I really enjoyed it for the couple of months I was on there. And then the guy who hired me got fired, and I saved the baby with having the surgery, and then I walked down the halls of General Hospital and just never returned.
And that was
that. They didn't even have the audacity to kill me. They were just like, yeah, you just walk down there.
That was it.
I just walked until the lights got darker and darker, and yeah.
And that was it.
Yeah, and the doors locked when I walked out the door. I couldn't get back in.
Oh.
So but it was okay. It led to more jobs.
Right.
Yeah.
Speaking of leading to more jobs, you started Walking Dead. I want to say in 2016. Am I correct? So did you realize that you would be on that show for all of those years?
I mean, I knew that I was going to be on it for a while because Ezekiel's character was going to go through some stuff, and I knew that they were gonna give me a tiger, and then they were gonna take her away in brutal fashion so they can watch me be depressed. So I knew that was gonna happen, and then I just didn't know how much longer it was gonna last, And I love the character so much, and I love the show so much, but I knew that I'd be on for a couple of years. And with The Walking Dead, you never know when they might kill you. So I was just like, I knew I was going to be on for a while, and then after that, it was like it's gravy. And whenever I die, and and I just want to hold on to the time I've got. So I got lucky. And I got revenge for all of the 13-year-old boys who came up to me and was like, I know how you're going to die. You're going to get your head cut off. They're going to get your head cut off, and they're going to put it on spike, and everybody's going to see it, and you're going to die. And then I found out I wasn't going to die, and they still kept coming up, and I was like, yeah, that's right, you little punk.
Yeah, listen. I'm not gonna
That's right. I survived. One day you'll die.
So
but Ezekiel lives. Yeah, I know, man. Yeah, I was gonna take some kids in the backyard, man. I swear.
I know, right?
They were coming at me hard. They were coming at me hard.
I was looking at something, and I saw on your Instagram there was something that you posted that you and Michonne, like you all shared a kiss. All right. Now, was that a nod to the fact that in the comic books you all are together, but in the show you got together with Carol?
Yeah. They switched it up, and Michonne and Rick got together. So then they were like, okay, so and now Carol, who died really early on, actually, became this huge, character played by the incredible Melissa McBride, and so they just wanted to do a little nod to the comic books, and just come up with a reason for Michonne and Ezekiel to look like they
were together.
Yeah, but no, they know better than that. Denai's like a sister that you love so much but we fight constantly,
right?
Like on the set, it was like, but I want to do it this way, and she's like, no, you don't. No. I was like, but yes, I do. And so right. We kill each other. That was it was hilarious. It was hilarious, and the actual kiss for us was pretty funny.
So you also, apart from that, a lot of other projects. You also voiced in Despicable Me 4.
Yes, I did. That's one of those parts that I remember doing several voices, and I haven't seen the movie yet, so I don't know what I did.
I'm trying to remember because I watched it and I was like, but wait a minute, is that his voice?
Is it? I don't know.
But
I'm not gonna lie. The you know what? The first time I did something like that was I played the Penguin King in the Super Mario Brothers movie, and I recorded that in a closet in Sonoy, Georgia, when we were still doing The Walking Dead, and it was COVID. Okay. So I just kind of had this little makeshift studio in my closet, and then they asked me to do the Despicable Me. But with Super Mario, once again, I kind of forgot that because I played around for like an hour and a half, with the directors and writers of that. They were the directors and writers of Teen Titans Go for years. And so that's why they asked me to do it. And so they were like, hey, let's play around and do some fun stuff. And I was like, okay, I don't know. And you never know if it's going to make it in the movie or not. And one day I got a text from a friend of mine, and he said, are you in the Super Mario Brothers movie? And I was like, maybe. And then he was like, I think you're in the trailer. And then I saw the trailer. I was like, oh, I guess I am. I guess I made it.
Get a check? They didn't write you a check, man?
Say again?
They didn't write you a check?
I mean, they wrote me a check.
Oh,
but
okay.
They're going to pay me whether I'm in it or not. But
okay.
But
Okay.
Yeah. No.
You,
the check came through first.
Famous. Okay.
That's why I forgot about it, because the money was spent like 2 years ago. Yeah.
Oh, recently you are also, like, I want to say, was it an independent movie? And I think it's called Hoteling.
Yeah. That's a short film written and directed by one of the producers of The Walking Dead, Ryan Buffer. She's an amazing talent. And
what's it about?
And asked me to come. It's about kids kind of falling through the cracks in the adoption process and foster care. And in Georgia, they do this thing called hoteling, where if they can't find a place for a kid, they just put them up in a hotel, and they have like 2 people have to be with them at all times, and it's kind of it's tough because it's not the best way to probably spend the resources to take care of this kid and try to figure out who of their parents or relatives that they can stay with, and it's just this kid who has no place to call home, and it's people who are trying their best to give them some semblance of a normal life, but it's really hard, and yeah, she wrote a beautiful little short film, and it's it's amazing, and it's making the festival run right now.
Okay, that's pretty cool. All right, and you're a parent, so how did you get into character? Or I mean, when you were in there noticing how some of these kids don't even have a mother or a father, how did that make you feel, man?
I mean, it's it's like any part, you take your personal experience and let it work through you. But it was it's funny because my 3-year-old's name is Eli, and Ryan named the kid in the movie Eli, there were a lot of those moments that really kind of hit you in the right place. I think she did that on purpose to really help me feel it. But it's a beautiful little story.
The Rise of Hydra. I saw the graphic. Tell us about that.
Well, it's an amazing video game that'll be coming out in the next year, and I play Black Panther, and which is a dream come true.
T'Challa.
No,
right.
Azuri. I play his grandfather.
I'm sorry, you're right.
I play a grandfather of the current Black Panther. His name is Azuri, and so this is set in World War II.
Okay.
And it's the first time that Captain America meets a Black Panther, and so it's one of those kind of I'm the kind of fish out of water, because I never leave Wakanda.
Yeah.
I do not like to leave my country.
Oh.
You know, I
Well,
like
that was
I like the
okay.
way the food tastes in my country. I like the way
Wait
the
a
people
second.
are in my country. I like to keep everyone out because they come in here and they leave their trash everywhere. I
Look,
don't like it.
we need a new Black Panther. I'm just saying.
Say again?
We need a new Black Panther. I'm just saying. We need a new Black Panther.
Well, you know
I
what?
mean, with
There's
that
a
voice right
Didn't
there.
you see the end? At the end, when baby Black Panther with his little dimples was like, we just got to wait for him to grow up.
There he is.
There it is.
Khary Payton. Okay.
No,
Khary.
I'm too old. I got gray over here. I'm
Man.
grandpa.
You're
I'm grandpa
grandpa.
Black Panther.
Oh, man,
You
come
know,
on,
I'm
you can shave it.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
shave
By
it
the
off.
time I come around, I'm doing all right. But yeah.
I got you.
I'm gonna stick with grandpa and let somebody else do the other thing. This is like a dream come true because this is the most photorealistic video game that's ever been made. The Real Engine 5 is just next level. It's you're gonna sit around and play this game like you're watching a movie. Everybody's gonna gather around, and you're gonna feel like you're watching episodes of like Game of Thrones or something. It's that the visuals are that amazing. I'm just really excited to be a part of it. The writer director of the Uncharted series did this. Amy Hennig, who is just a genius at what she does, and it's kind of in that same Indiana Jones genre, and she's just amazing at that.
Man, that's pretty cool. Not everybody can get an opportunity to say that they're on a video game.
Yeah, and I've been doing video games for a while. I did.
Yeah.
I was drebbing. I started off doing drebbing in Metal Gear Solid years and years ago, and have been I've been able to play so many cool characters, and just in the Arkham series, I got to play Azrael and Killer Croc and all of these, but I was able to do Call of Duty, but the more that we're able to do motion capture and not just voiceover, but in a room about as big as this, we build up structures and pads and platforms, and we literally make the thing into, one day it's a helicopter, another day it's a truck, and I'm hanging off the edge of the truck, and it's just so much fun. It feels like I'm just a kid on the Jungle Gym, when I was a kid again, and I feel so lucky to be doing all of it, and to be at this time where technology is just taking it to another level. Right. When I was a kid, the comics that we read, you're like, you know what? I don't even want to see the live action version because it's just gonna look dumb, And now the technology is caught up,
right?
And it doesn't look dumb anymore. It looks amazing, Yeah. We're all just experiencing this incredible time of watching the stuff that we read as a kid, come to life. We were all there when Captain America, called, Thor's hammer, and we all gasped and couldn't believe it was happening in front of us. Right. And we're all being a part of that, and I get to be a little bit a part of it now, and then I'm gonna go see Daredevil and Wolverine. Because I'm gonna go see Daredevil and Wolverine because this is literally the childhood I grew up with,
There it is.
And we get to bring our kids along,
right?
And I get to show my son, the comics that I read, and be like, this is what we're about to see. Yeah. This is the Captain Marvel I grew up with. She had an afro. It was like I get to show them all of this stuff. Yeah, it's really exciting.
That is really cool, man, to see all of it come full circle. Back to The Walking Dead really quick. King Ezekiel, obviously that show, you really have to get into character, seeing death and destruction and zombies and blood and head being cut off.
I'm a dad. I see death and destruction every morning trying to get people to school. This is nothing. This is nothing. I'm juggling diapers and calculus.
Right.
And, yeah. Shit.
One thing after
the apocalypse is easy.
Right.
Yeah. No. It's what the fun thing about playing Ezekiel is that I really understood him, and from the beginning it was like if you're living in a dark, horrible place, I'll pretend every day is a Renaissance fair. Absolutely, I will. Because it seems unreal. Everything you see is unreal. Yeah. So why not? you know, spread a little light and a little love and let everybody forget, you know, that the world is as dark as it is.
Yeah.
You know, having a theater background, I think you know, really helped me get that part, and also doing all of the voiceover that I did.
Right.
You know, when you read the comic book, it says that Ezekiel, when he kind of changes his persona, when he's talking to Michonne in the comic books, you see him. They say that he kind of slumps in his chair, and he becomes more like a regular man. But they didn't say anything about the voice. And because I've been doing so much voiceover in my head, I was like, nah, this dude talks differently. It's not just that he changes his physical kind of makeup. It's his voice that changes, and that's what really gets you. And I think that kind of helped me, you know, find my way to the character. Yeah.
Well, so what are you working on right now?
Well, I just finished a documentary about my mother. She was a biology and arts major in the late 60s, early 70s. She earned her biology degree, but in Macon, Georgia, at Mercer University, there was the dean of the art school had never had a black person graduate from their department.
Oh, okay.
And he came up with some excuse why she was not allowed to show her paintings, and therefore would not be given her diploma.
Wow.
And so it took 50 years of you know, before she was able to finally get her degree.
50 years.
And she didn't. She never even walked to get
Right.
get her diploma, because she was having me that May. And so it was 16 days later, after she had me, that she was supposed to get her biology degree. But and so 50 years later, she finally walked across that stage.
Wow.
And got her art degree, and was able to be acknowledged for that. And so we were just talking about, you know, kind of the different times that we live in, and just keeping a positive attitude, and
Right.
and not letting the hurt, you know, be the thing that tears you down.
Yeah.
And she's an extraordinary woman, and so we just submitted our documentary to the Sundance Film Festival, and so we'll be showing it. It was supposed to be like a 15-minute short. It ended up being about a 50-minute feature-length film, and I'm really proud of it, and I'm proud of her, and yeah. So that's what we've been working on the last little bit.
How does she feel working with her son?
Well, she asked me to direct it. It was funny because she works on she's the busiest retired woman I've ever met. She always on a Zoom call. She's like, "Khary, I'm on a Zoom call. I can't talk right now." I was like, who are you Zooming with constantly? But she feels like she's on this mission to like heal the racial division in our country, and it's like you have to acknowledge what happened. You know, you know, it's like there's so many kind of movements to say, you know, we don't want to talk about this anymore.
Right.
We don't want to talk about that anymore. We don't want to make somebody feel bad for being white. And it was like, acknowledge this awesome white person who helped us get where we are. You don't have to feel bad. How about you can say that there was a problem and we all got together and fixed it? You know, and so she has just been like, she was like all of this stuff happened to me when I was and I didn't let it break me, but I can't pretend like it's not there.
Right.
So make sure that we don't do it again. Let's make sure that this doesn't happen again. We have to talk about it. And so this is why she's on Zoom calls constantly.
Gotcha.
And someone was like, you know what? We want you to tell your story, and we'll give you some money to do this documentary. And she was like, "Khary, they want me to do this documentary. Will you direct it?" And you know, and I was like, sure, I'll do it, and I won't cry ever during this process. I cried every day that you know, I'm sitting there. Thankfully, I wasn't the one asking the questions. I'm sitting back, you know, and you know, just tears running down my face, listening to the stories of my uncle and my mom, my cousins, you know, tell the story of you know, this divide, and how all of these different people from different walks of life came together to try to make it right, you know. And and the thing is you can't make all of it right. She lost 50 years. She wanted to be a medical illustrator. She ended up working in medicine.
Medical illustrator. That's
yeah,
cool.
Yeah, that's why she wanted to have her art degree and her biology degree to kind of join them. She ended up, you know, kind of going in another direction. And so, you know, she did have a piece taken from her, but she didn't let it, you know, make her bitter. And she wouldn't let it, she wouldn't even tell us about what happened to her until we graduated, because she didn't want it to be discouraging for us.
To affect you all.
But you know, and then but she eventually would tell us what happened, and the way that she finally got her degree, because she kept asking, and they were like, well, you have to do this and you have to do that. And she was like, no, I did everything.
Yeah.
I did everything. You know, why won't you just give me my degree? And she was sitting at the Atlanta Hartsfield Airport and sat next to this woman who was waiting on a shuttle to take her to Macon, Georgia, and she happened to be a professor at Mercer University. And she was like, huh.
Look at that divine appointment.
Yeah, you know, and she started telling her a story, and this professor, you know, said, that doesn't sound right. I want to do something about that. And this woman she never met before, you know, we've been on this journey. It's really amazing.
Wow.
But yeah. So it was an incredible experience for me to be, you know, kind of helping shepherd this story, you know, and it's the beauty of storytelling. I have always, you know, ever since I saw that Cyrano de Bergerac, and it made me feel like, dude, I want to be that guy. I want to be that guy that captures an audience in a dark room and makes them feel something, makes them feel a connection.
Yeah.
Even in this moment where we're just sitting here, you know, we're just on a panel, but I get to tell you a story, and I get to give you a piece of my heart, and I hope that you walk away and I don't know how it works on you, but I hope that it does. It's like that's all I've ever really wanted since I was in the first grade, and I saw that thing, and here we are getting to do it again.
Yeah.
This is what gives me juice. This is what makes it important for me to tell my kid, you know what, I got to go to Columbia, South Carolina this weekend, and because there's somebody that I'm supposed to meet that I told this story, and it moved me, and I found connection, and they saw it through a television, and it moved them, and we're supposed to meet tomorrow. And we're supposed to see each other and know that energy happened. And storytelling can be this amazing and beautiful thing. And I love these conventions. It really makes me feel like I get to know somebody that I was trying to connect with. When I was struggling doing theater years ago, and my mom was like, Khary, why don't you just come back home? It just it just seems so hard. And I told her, I was like, Mom, there's somebody out there that I'm never going to meet, but they need me to tell a story, and I'm the only one who can do it.
Yeah.
And maybe that was a little cocky of me to say, but I honestly felt like there's a story that only I can tell, and I'm supposed to be the one to do it, and it's going to connect somebody. There's a saying that Ezekiel said all the time on the show, and it was, and yet I smile. And I have had so many people come up to me with this tattooed on their shoulder, on their arm, on their back, and they literally look at it every day, and yet I smile. Despite all the hardship, I'm going to smile. And I just love that I played a character that I feel like was its legacy of my mom, who was the same way. This stuff that happened to her, and she was like, if you ever meet my mom, you'll know her by her smile, because it's the same smile I've got. And she's never lost it, no matter what's happened to her. All of this is this story of me. It intertwines. I've literally asked, you know, and I've prayed to whoever's listening that I get to tell stories that way. I was like, I literally didn't want to be known as a bad guy, because I didn't want to. And bad guys are important, but in order to tell a story, I love me some Jeffrey Dean Morgan. He's a crotchety old dude, but I love me some Jeffrey. I wanted to be able to spread that light, and that my mom, started with, when she was raising me, and even my dad, my dad was crotchety before he was old. But she always got him to smile. She got him to smile, and I would kiss him, and he'd be like, "Get off of me," and I'd kiss him again, and and it was like melting the heart of a man who put up walls in order to protect himself, and it was like that was my job,
to be the,
that was my first story was melting my dad, to the point where he expected a kiss from me, and he expected me to melt him with a hug.
You talked about making connections, so let's see if we can make a few connections even in this audience. Anybody
if you
has
want to ask
a question
now,
Khary?
I've taken up all of our time, just talking your head off. Leia, do you have a question for me now that we've gotten to know each other better?
If you have a question, come on.
Yeah. Give the microphone to Princess Leia. Yeah, I don't even know her.
Oh,
real
Princess
name.
Leia. I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
So interestingly, the only reason that I'm here is because I have a 14-year-old daughter. She'll be 14 tomorrow, and this is what she is interested in. And we do things for our children that we normally wouldn't do. So I dressed up, even though this is not typically me. I dressed up. I brought her. I have no clue where she is. So I'm sitting here just biding my time. And I'm listening to people that I have no idea what they do. I've never seen. However, General Hospital did pique my interest because, I'm a Rick Springfield fan. That's my time. You're a little bit younger than me, but, but I've learned a lot. And the one thing that you said that really kind of spoke to me is we live in a time when conversations are not had enough. And I grew up in an area where that is still a thing, and we really need to talk about those things in order for them to make the world a better place instead of just letting it pass by. And I'm a first grade teacher too. Oh. Yeah. So.
Well, thank you for your service.
Yeah, and I really enjoyed all of this, so thank you.
Well, thank you. Yeah, and that to me is the power of storytelling. The things that sometimes that people don't want to talk about or don't know how to talk about. You can, it's like the story. The story can get you there. That's what I love about The Walking Dead. It's like, you know what? When it all goes to hell, it all goes wrong in the apocalypse, and there are dead people walking around. It don't matter where you're from. It don't matter how big or small you are. How dark or light you are. You know what? You find somebody to hold on to. And I love that it's an entire series that went on for like 10 years and never acknowledged, never said anything about that black one or that white one or that Asian one or this one, because none of that matters when you got your backs, to each other and you're trying to survive, And it was on so many levels an amazing experience. Let's see, where are we at?
I know we had her right here. Young lady, come on.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll do this impromptu thing. Sorry.
Okay, so you were saying how you get to share your childhood with your kids.
Yes.
And you're my childhood because of Cyborg and Aqualad and then Ezekiel. So just
I also do voices.
Yeah.
Babe, that's I do she's talking about my cartoon voice. I'll tell you later. We'll talk about it.
So just with that in mind, what does that feel like to you, knowing that there's a younger generation that looks up to you?
You know what? It's funny because kids have been telling me I made their childhood for so long, and it started in my 30s, and I was like, I made your childhood. I'm not old enough to make somebody's childhood, And now full-grown adults are you're my childhood, and I was like, well, I'm 50. I guess I gotta acknowledge it that it's happened, but it's one of the coolest things. Yes, please go have a seat. Cute little shuffle back to the seat. one of the coolest things is being able to watch my kids, watch my shows, and they don't watch The Walking Dead, but they get to watch my different cartoons that I've done. In fact, my oldest Carter, he would watch Young Justice, and Young Justice came out a little after he was born, and he was just learning to talk, and he didn't call it Young Justice. And Aqualad is a character that I voice on that show, and he jumps in the air the first time you see him. He's not really flying, but it looks like he's taking off and doing this really cool acrobatic thing, and the thing is that Aqualad doesn't sound exactly like me, really. I speak, he speaks quietly, and deliberately. And so I didn't expect for Carter to know that it was me. But he heard my voice in there, and when Aqualad would jump up and do his thing, he pointed at the screen and he said, "Daddy Fly." And that's what he would call Young Justice. He was like, "Daddy, watch Daddy Fly. Let's watch Daddy Fly." And it was like, half the time I don't call Young Justice Young Justice. I call Young Justice Daddy Fly. And it's like this little nugget that I get to take with my kids.
That's what's up. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's cool. And I've got 4. So I've got different stages of development. Watching, my youngest is who's 3. He just started watching the old Teen Titans show, which he actually thinks is hilarious, because he just laughs whenever they get into a fight. He just thinks it's the funniest thing, and he does that kind of toddler cackle, and that just warms my heart. And it's it's a really cool thing. I don't know how much longer it's gonna last. Eventually, all my kids are gonna be like, "Daddy, you're not that cool," but I'm holding on to it. I'm holding on to it as long as I can.
I think we have somebody right over there. Yeah, Batman.
Go ahead, Batman.
Hey, I'm Cam. I know you mentioned General Hospital, Walking Dead, but of any of your shows, do you have a favorite memory or a favorite day on set that you just stuck in your memory? I know, it's random.
That's a good one, Cam.
No, it's so hard because I've been so lucky. I've gotten so many great roles that it's hard for me to choose. The speeches that I would make on The Walking Dead with Ezekiel, just being able to be a grown man killing zombies in the woods with your friends. I mean, it's hard to beat that.
Yeah.
There's so many moments from Teen Titans that I love. Just from the new video game where we're learning to work in this new genre where it's like I said, it's this playground, and there's a moment that's in the trailer for the video game, and we're on this long bridge. Captain America's at this end, and I'm at the other, and we're screaming at each other, and the room's actually not big enough for the bridge. So I start walking, and Drew, who plays Captain America, starts walking towards me, and we're like, it's not long enough. They're like, just pass each other. We'll stretch it out later. And so I actually am yelling at him, and then I just walk past him, and I just keep going, and you just keep walking and keep yelling, and then they stretch it out over the, in the game to make it work, and we're kind of improving the game, and at first I had a line that was written that says, "I do not take orders from you," and by the time we got to the third take, and I was like, wait a minute, I'm a king. I don't take orders from anybody, not you. So by the time I got to the end of that bridge, I said, I do not take orders from anyone. And it was, and it becomes.
Come on, Wakanda.
And it was just angry and visceral.
Yeah.
And yeah. Grandpa
Wasn't
Black Panther
playing.
is much angrier than
Gotcha.
T'Challa.
We have one more question.
Yeah.
One more question. Oh, time's up. Oh, okay, time's up. We gotta go. Sorry, we gotta wrap up.
Y'all know that one question was going to take another 7 minutes for me to answer. I'm sorry.
30. So last closing statements, Khary Payton. Anything else will you tell anybody as we close out?
No, man, just thanks for listening. Even the people who have no idea who I am, but now, you know,
Princess Leia over
now
there.
we're gonna have dinner. You know, we're gonna have a potluck. It's gonna be great. Look at her.
There you go.
I'm gonna have to take out a restraining order on Princess Leia now. I love it.
All right.
Well, thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you guys for dressing up. There's nothing cooler than seeing a kid who's like 7 or 8 years old see you guys dress up and just their eyes light up. You guys are one of the reasons that these conventions are so awesome. So thank you for doing that. I just want to tell you it's absolutely appreciated. Thank you for listening, guys.
Thank you all so much for coming. Freddie Clairvaux, Watch Fox News. Thank you so much for having us. Let's get one more time for Khary Payton.
Attention. 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 Get ready, South Carolina. Meet your favorite comic book legends, pose with iconic characters, and dive into exclusive panels that will blow your mind. Join us at the Myrtle Beach Convention Center for 2 action-packed days. Whether you're a superhero or super fan, this is your convention, Boardwalk Comic-Con, where fandom comes alive. Surf's Up Comic-Con.